You know, it's clear in the Bible that we're to pray for those governing over us, even if we disagree with their politics, the moral issues, and where they may be taking us as a country. In fact, we should be praying even more. You know, we have situations where we get pretty all riled up about what's happening on Parliament Hill, but we need to pray. And there's many people of faith who are serving our country as members of Parliament, and one of those is Bob Zimmer, first elected in 2011. He was re-elected 3 years ago. He is the MP for Prince George, Peace River, and also Northern Rockies. Bob and his wife Val live in Dawson Creek, British Columbia. They have 4 children, and he is joining us from Northern British Columbia in Fort St. John. Thanks for joining us, Bob.
Morning, Greg.
So the 53rd Annual National Prayer Breakfast happening in Ottawa on Tuesday, May 8th at the Shaw Centre. Why is this such an important event?
Well, it really centers around a weekly event that we host just for members of Parliament and senators. We just gather on Parliament Hill every Wednesday morning at 7:15, and somebody speaks, one of our members speaks, and we pray. And what I've said many times, we appreciate the prayers of many Canadians. I've heard that many times they're praying for us. And we say that we're praying for them. It's one of my honors as chair is to pray for our Prime Minister, pray for the leadership, and also pray for Canadians in our country. So we do that every morning, every Wednesday that we're sitting in the House. So just know that you're being prayed for.
Oh, it's important to know that. I know many of the mayors across Canada, including the community I live in Alberta, they like people coming together and praying for them. So there's obviously leaders, regardless of their political stripes, see the value of prayer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you just said too, I think is key to it all, is that of all political stripes, the people that gather on Parliament Hill, for instance, it's all political parties are represented there. There's Conservatives, Liberals, NDP, and Elizabeth May attends, and so it's well attended by really all parties. And I think we all understand that we need God, and we need Him in our lives, and we need His help. So it's an honor to do it. And I think what we've said often in the prayer breakfast, it's the center part of our week. It really reminds us why we're there and why we're doing what we're doing and making a difference for our country.
So when you
it's a good.
Yeah. So when you went up on the Hill, 7 years ago, have you seen the prayer breakfast and the praying together MPs and other people that are involved in government up there? Is there becoming more of a concerted effort to prayer? Is it becoming more important because of the times we're living in?
Yeah, even before when we first started, there was a lot of believers on the Hill, and I remember one member said to me, why so many now? And it was a good question. Does God see it that there's more of a need than ever for having Christians in leadership positions? I don't know, but that's the way it was. And for us, it's just that it's real. It's a simple thing, and just as Jesus was, it was a simple "come to me" type message. We come at life from many different experiences, and to come together like that under the banner of Jesus Christ, and it's good, and it's again reminds us why we're here and why we're doing what we're doing.
So why did you, Bob, decide to take on the role of chair for the breakfast?
Yeah, well, normally the chairmanship, it gets hand over about every 4 years or so. The time that I took over, somebody had led it for about a year and just decided they're just too busy. So I took it over, and I was kind of surprised. I guess it's that whole Moses and the leadership thing where God says, okay, I want you to do it. And you look around behind you and you say, well, it's got to be somebody better than me. But God chooses sometimes even folks like us to do the leading. So I was honored to be asked, and I thought, no, I can do a good job here and just make sure that we keep it centered around Christ. And it's been great. It's been a great experience. I'm just coming up to the end of my tenure. It'll be my 4th year of this prayer breakfast in May, and we'll be passing the torch to somebody else. So I'm looking forward to that too and seeing them grow.
So I want to talk, before we go here, Bob, your faith journey. I know that you were in family business, integrity, honesty, and all those things were a big part of it. So tell me about how you came to the Lord and how you've matured, and maybe even more so going to Ottawa with some of the challenges there.
Yeah, well, just raised in northern BC, born in Dawson Creek. I'm actually in Fort St. John now, where I spent most of my life. We live here now. And it was just, I'd been raised again in a Christian home, and gone down that road of seeing what the world had to offer. And I remember coming to the end. It was the valley for me. And I remember driving home from Taylor, BC after the situation and just saying, okay, God, I felt my low of my lows. And I said, okay, God, whatever you have for me, take me and use me in my life. and I would have never guessed he would have brought me to Ottawa. I asked the question a lot of school kids is who would be the person in the room to say they'd never be a member of parliament? I would have been that person even just several years ago. So I was the last person that didn't like public speaking. I wasn't very good at it, was extremely nervous doing it. But it's funny how God uses a willing vessel and brings us to places you can never imagine. But no, the journey was really just coming to the end of myself and saying, God, take me and use me from here. And it's been a long journey. It's been a lot of fun, but crazy at times too, but definitely a journey.
And why should they come out to the prayer breakfast coming up in May?
Uh, Basically, just a time for people that love Jesus just to come together and to come to Ottawa and see that the leadership in Ottawa recognizes how important Jesus Christ is to our lives, and we just want to make sure that we're not we let people know we're not ashamed of that. It's a very public event. Last year we had the Governor General speak, and we've had Prime Minister Trudeau actually spoke a couple of years ago. So it's really just to say, look, we're Christians. We're not afraid to be public about our faith, and want to show people what gives us hope and why we do believe in Jesus. It's really a hope for the future, and I hope we can make this world a better place.
I was going to say it's very encouraging that we have people of faith in Ottawa like you, Bob. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Greg, and have a good day.
You as well. We'll be right back.